What is the most gatekeeping community, i.e. the most hostile to outsiders, that you know of? I know some flight simmers who get really elitist and nationalistic to almost anyone, especially newcomers if they use anything besides a PMDG aircraft, or similar, ORBX scenery and a high-end PC. Like bro, I just wanna screw around flying loops in a Freeware 737. When an actual pilot or someone with plane time tells them to pound sand is the greatest. Ever play craps? Ever play craps with the guys who play it every freaking day? Holy crap, what a superstitious and outright freaking rude crowd that bunch can be. If you dare to violate any of their little superstitions and ridiculous and stated rules, you'll be yelled at and chastised. Crap's so pathetic. I get tired of their crap. I'm a craps dealer BTW. I get to hang out with these jackasses almost every day. I asked one of those guys to show me the ropes at a crap casino in Louisiana. One of the first things he said was 7 rollin' packs. I nope the frick out with my chips. I don't do gambler's fallacy or observation bias. Lockpicking hobby forums. They are so paranoid that an outsider is actually a criminal looking for ways to get past locks that they drive people away. Even the one here on Reddit, that used to be decent, turned into one of those places. But honestly, why even be paranoid about it? Some people will use the internet to figure out how to pick locks and steal crap. Shunning outsiders isn't going to stop them. Punk. Punk claims to be this whole subculture where outcasts can come together and feel welcome. But it feels more like the place where outcasts go to exclude other people. It gets even worse when you get into the subculture punks, like crust punks. Crusties are the frickin' worst. Street kids too. Heck, they all suck. I grew up being a punk from 14 until about 20, where I realized a lot of things about the scene I was taking part in. Something about the 40-year-old dudes with spiked hair wearing Converse banging 18-year-old high school chicks with serious issues and people gatekeeping you at every step of the way. Have you ever tried to go to a show at a punk house? Jesus frickin' Christ. Good luck if you show up without the requisite number of flares on your jean jacket. I love how punks try so desperately to be non-conformist that they end up conforming to each other. Just fricking tickles me. The People's Front of Judea, though, it might actually be the Judean People's Front. Or was it the Popular Front? My point is they all hate the Romans. Then on top of that, they hate the other groups more. They're all a bunch of splitters. You can't even consider joining them unless you really hate the Romans. Most bands' fandoms will straight up come after you if you can't name every album or get any facts wrong even on the first day, so it can be really discouraging to get into. Most recently I've seen this with 21 Pilots. 9gag. Didn't even know people actually use that platform until a former friend of mine said Reddit was crap and I should go on 9gag instead. Former friend. Good lad. Jehovah's Witnesses. You have to sell your soul to the devil to join them, and if you decide to leave they treat you like you don't exist. A lot of groups mistreat people, but completely ignoring their existence is some next level fricked up crap. I dated a JW girl who was having doubts about the religion and spoke to her sister about it. Her sister had left the religion. FF a couple years. We'd broken up but kept in touch. I ran into her and her mom at the gym and said hello. I asked them how the sister was doing. The mom said I only have one daughter. The sister said I don't have a sister. She got sucked back into that vortex of WTF brainwashing cult and no longer has a sister. Hey, I'm sorry, but biology, society and logic doesn't work that way. I wouldn't mind if JWs would treat me like I don't exist. Doctors. They're all like, stop operating on that patient, and you're not a surgeon. And how did you get in here? Well, if I was a doctor and a Yeti came in and started operating, I'd ask a lot of questions too. When I was in high school and a young adult, I found goths to be as a rule pretty crappy. I realize why. When PPL are constantly giving you crap for the way you look, you start to preemptively be a dong. So no one can hurt you first. I was a metalhead hippie weirdo in school, and I felt all us freaky kids should stick together. I hopped through all the subgenre groups, the headbangers, the punks, the indie kids, art kids, the trenchers, the ravers, etc. I would get the most crap from the odd goth kid. just being really crappy and stuck up. It was pretty weird. They were a hard group to get to know and be friends with. Very exclusive, in K8 of a bad way. That's my experience, anyway. Band fandoms. That is bandoms. Oh, you like a relatively popular band? Name all 72 of their albums. Recite all the words to their longest song perfectly, and tell me the exact brand and model of the ex-bassist's grandmother's piano tutor's guitar. CS. Go. I sneezed on the mic and was called a renner. Had just bought the game too. It's not just CS. Go. It's literally every multiplayer competitive game. The problem is much deeper than community toxicity. There's a small island in the Indian Ocean called North Sentinel Island. It has a mostly uncontacted tribe on it. Various governments have placed it as legally off limits to visitors and fishing. Not only is it ringed by a very hazardous barrier reef, but the inhabitants have resisted contact with outsiders in all recorded instances. That is, attacking them on sight with spears and arrows. In the 70s, a cargo ship ran aground on the barrier reef. After waiting a few days for a rescue ship, they noticed the Sentinelese preparing canoes and rafts on the shore and loading up with arrows and spears. They frantically radioed for the rescue boat to bring guns and ammo to defend themselves. A major storm prevented the islanders from launching their raid and the rescue boat evacuated the crew. After the 2004 tsunami, the Indian military sent a helicopter to survey damage to the island. It was attacked with stones, slings, and arrows and was forced to climb away in altitude. Imagine being on that cargo ship. You would be crapping it. I'm surprised K-pop hasn't been mentioned yet, although I don't know if it applies here. Even though K-pop itself reaches a global audience, select fandoms can be the worst. You could probably find websites where people pick on other groups because they don't like them at all. And there are also antis, etc. Although in saying that, people tend to show support of others groups, albeit the most annoying way possible. Hi, I am a insert fandom here, supporting insert other fandom here, XOXO. I wouldn't say it's very gatekeeping, it's extremely welcoming to new people, but yeah, the fandom wars between fans like XOLs and ARMYs are just plain ridiculous at this point. I'm a fan of both EXO and BTS. Metalheads. According to them, you're not a true metalhead if you can't name 30 obscure black and industrial or death metal bands and once listened to Metallica. If your band has more than 9 fans, releases music on anything more advanced than cassette tapes, and records anywhere other than a garage in a suburb of Oslo, then you're sellout hacks. Ulana Penguin 95. Don't worry, he said this ironically in response to someone else. Metal and superhero fandoms had the most gatekeeping I've seen. I remember being at a show witnessing some douchey guy grill this girl on Slayer knowledge. Whenever somebody questions me about music, I just make crap up and then laugh at them for not knowing about whatever obscure song or album I'm talking about. Superhero comic book fans. They'll literally rip someone's head off for not knowing every Batman story arc in history ever, or every single time Thor had someone else take Mjolnir and or his place from him. It's even worse for girl fans. Geeks in general tend to be super hostile to girl geeks. Their battle cry is the obnoxious. Do you even read comics? Yes, you nitwit. I do read comics, but I haven't read every comic known to mankind. So forgive me for not remembering this random story arc for the Avengers from 1973. Libertarians. It's like they view it as a contest over who can be the strongest libertarian and not about the best way to run a government. Smash Bros Melee community. They hate on the new Smash Bros games because they are party games. Sorry, I want a break from excessively competitive gameplay to relax and enjoy the company of my friends. LOL, that's what Smash is supposed to be, a party game. College Station, Texas is pretty hostile to outsiders. Unless you are a Texas A&M student or alum, you do not want to live there. I am an alum of a non-rival school and the people there were super hostile towards me when I wore my school's gear. I could get it if I was wearing Texas Longhorn stuff, but I went to a school in a different state. They are also hate you if you are a Democrat. The police harassed me as well because my tag was from out of state. Engineers in college. I was once an engineering student, now engineer. Anyone who's not in engineering is weak. They can't handle the math or stress. Engineers have the most workload. Nobody else has anything close. Nobody will make any money. Only engineers make money. You don't know the third derivative of the frick you quadruplex off the top of your head? Whoa, you're fricking stupid. She's just jirling her way through engineering. She's not a real engineer. Women can't be engineers. They're not smart enough. This was at a state school. I can't imagine a private engineering college. It was freaking terrible. My classmates were douchebags. The best people I met in college were graphic design, art, English, etc. I still talk to a lot of those people, and the engineering students I've since dropped out of my life because of this crap. Fortunately, outside of college, these types just become loner engineers with no social life, getting that big 3% raise for putting in 20-hour days, 6 days a week. Sure, they'll climb the ladder faster, and that's all that matters to them. Man, that sucks. My school has a strong college of engineering, but we're mostly self-deprecating nerds. Photographers. 1. If they see you with a camera, they automatically think that it's a crap camera if it's not the brand they worship, or they assume that you are not good enough to own the camera at all. 1. They view anyone else with a camera as a threat to their livelihood. 1. If you mention any area of photography that you want to specialize in or gravitate towards, they're going to tell you why you specifically will suck at it. My town. Small tight-knit community. Everyone is white and Republican. Time warp back to the 1960s. Husband work and wives stay home to gossip. My husband and I moved in and we are a bunch of queers. Judgmental buttholes. We gain acceptance by having one heck of a decorated house. Best Halloween parties. And I teach the kids, so most of the mothers kiss my butt. I would watch a sitcom about your life. Socialist, communists, anarchists. Everyone has beef with someone else that takes hours to explain to PPL just joining the left. There are beefs outside that too. My pinned tweet is communism is just a book club where everyone hates each other. Also, gun groups have pretty intense gatekeepers at times, IMHO. Online gun groups can be pretty abrasive. Actual people at gun ranges are awesome. Most people at the range are more than happy to talk to you and let you shoot their guns, especially if they end up setting up next to you. One guy let my buddies and I shoot dang near every gun he brought just because I showed him how to field strip his new 1911 without getting an idiot scratch. From personal experience, I found tabletop gaming to be this way. Not necessarily stuff like D&D, but more like W40k. D&D players can get elitist sometimes, but that's only because nobody wants to put up with a new guy who can easily derail a whole campaign. Meanwhile, Warhammer is already hard enough to get into because the models cost an arm and a leg, and then the community just seems kind of hostile and full of themselves at times. The models cost an arm and a leg. My ex-boyfriend was into Warhammer, not sure if he still is. Anyhow, he told me he had 25k on it over the course of about 10 years. IDK, this counts. But on FB there's a group called Sanctimumies, a bunch of crazy B-man. Try telling them you don't agree with their way of how you should raise your child and just see what happens. PC gamers are pretty bad, as in some of them unironically say that people who play on console aren't real gamers, whatever that means. Some of them. Not to sound like a hypocrite or anything, but I'm really glad you said some of them. I also totally understand. I'm a pretty committed PC gamer, but my setup is literally a trashy $100 workstation from 2007, so yeah, been in that boat before. Some LG people. From LGBT towards asexuals. There are blogs on Tumblr dedicated to hating asexuals. It's really disgusting and disheartening to see people being bullies to someone because of their sexuality, when a lot of these bullies are gay themselves and fight against discrimination and hatred of LGBT people. There are a lot of support blogs out there for asexuals, too, but so often I see people calling asexuals ugly, saying they should kill themselves, hoping they get rounded up and shot. They claim asexuals are stealing their resources or acting like they're oppressed. It's not the oppression Olympics. Asexuals are not trying to claim they have it worse, just that they would like to be recognized and have others understand they face some forms of discrimination. 2. LGBT+ people should support each other instead of tearing each other apart. People also seem to forget you can be asexual and while also being gay, lesbian, bi, trans, etc. The Pokemon competitive battling community, specifically Smogon. Those are some elitist pricks if I've ever known them. I actually love competitive Pokemon. It's a heck of a lot of fun and a serious strategic puzzle. But the forum will tear you apart if you go in there looking for fun, constructive discussions. Those people care about two things, efficiency and winning. Our Stunfisk is pretty friendly. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.